How's it hanging, gang? Call me Kane, and I bring you yet another episode of HVX with my sister Rose's art helping to visually showcase it. No duh. To anybody who's been sticking around this whole time, thank you so much. However, I doubt you stuck around because of my rambling. You stuck around because of ISH. Let's see them, shall we? Also, I'm curious, dear viewers, who's your favorite member of ISH? Unfortunately, not every hero has a chance to shine as much as the others, even the ones that show the most promise. Omar Wyatt, known by the hero name Viscid, is a slime-based superhero who can morph any part of his body into a plaster-like goo. Whether to enhance mobility or evade enemy contact, Omar has perfected his craft. He's an only child and has been supported by his family ever since he discovered his powers, when he was only 4 years old. Obviously a lot older now, Viscid puts himself in all sorts of dangerous situations to protect the innocent from evil forces. One thing to note, there's no better place to find evil forces than the unmonitored Spoil Town. When swinging around on lassos made out of his own slime, Viscid spotted a disgusting crime in progress. A family of 3, looking like they just came home from vacation, were being openly robbed from a gang of thugs. The parents tried to shield their teenage daughter from the criminals, but the crooks paid almost no attention to her anyway. "That necklace," mused one of them with a toothy grin. "Is it imported?" Before the mother could answer, another crook loaded his gun. Who cares, as long as it ain't fake." "It ain't fake, huh?" The whole family nodded. Not fake here, just take—" "That won't be necessary, ma'am," said Viscid, lassoing the gun right out of the crook's hand. "What's he gonna do? Shoot you without a gun?" The daughter, born without a left hand, breathed a sigh of relief. "Mom, Dad, this is one of the Big A's new heroes. Viscid, right? Kick their butts." "That I will, sweetie," Viscid responds, stretching out a slimy fist to wallop another member of the gang. "Kill him!" one of the bigger crooks said, aiming his gun. "Kill him, now!" The criminals started shooting at Viscid, but he expertly avoided their bullets. He managed to lasso one of the smaller gang members and knock him into another, all with a grin on his face. "You know, I usually like to be serious about this crime-fighting thing," he admits, "but you clowns make that hilariously difficult." The frightened family tiptoed to a safer distance as Viscid backhanded another criminal. Professionally, he lassoed a bunch more guns out of the others' hands and collided them together to completely obliterate them. The crooks scrambled on what to do next. Looking for something to do?" Viscid retorted. "I suggest you leave. Now!" The whole gang hurriedly scrambled to get up and run away, all save for one, who was hidden in the shadows behind Viscid. Having not fought the whole time, he was hungry for violence. This is when tragedy struck. Aiming his gun right at the back of Viscid's head, the unseen crook fired. Viscid was turned away, making sure the rattled family was okay. "Dude, thanks," said the teenage girl. "You were right there when we needed you. That was so cool." Viscid smiled. "Well, get used to it, because I'll always be The ricocheting bullet smacked Viscid right in the back of the head. The force of the impact and the distance of the bullet made for a brutal hit. In horror, a family watched Viscid lurch forward and gasp in pain. He looked up to the family and closed his eyes slowly, as if to say he's sorry. The teenage girl screamed out of grief, but her family held her back. "Molly," said her dad, "we have to get out of here." Her parents began running, but Molly looked back at the slime with a pained heart. I can't leave him," Molly declared. "It's not right." Suddenly, her parents stopped running and came back for her. "Of course it isn't right," said her mom, grabbing Molly's single hand. "Which is why we can't let it happen to any more innocent people of the city, and that includes you. Come on, Molly!" Molly was just about to move when she stopped in her tracks. "Hold up," she said. "I think I just saw the slime move." Her dad pinched the bridge of his nose tightly. "He's dead, Molly. He's not coming back." Her dad was forced to eat his words, as the slime began reanimating itself. Slowly, it tried to take form, but was of no use. "Viscid?" Molly stuttered. The slime suddenly came closer, and closer, and closer towards Molly, who crouched down and extended her hand as if luring a kitten. When the slime reached Molly, it began to latch onto where her left hand would have been. Affectionately, Molly began to pat it. "Goodbye, Viscid," she said, knowing that he can't hear her. Thanks. Molly tried to gently pull the slime off of her arm, but it wouldn't budge. She tried a little harder, but it was firm. Suddenly, the slime reshaped itself as a hand and permanently stopped moving. Molly began to panic, and she couldn't for the life of her pull the slime off. No, 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 she screamed. Mom! Dad, help! Calm down, encouraged her dad. We can solve this, but only if we think straight. Who do you think can help us right now? Molly was far too distracted with her new hand to pay attention to her dad. Dad, it feels just like my right hand, but on the left. I have a hand, Dad, a left hand. Her parents' faces remained concerned. I don't know, honey, said her mom. That hand isn't natural. It's supernatural. Let's see a doctor and have it scraped off, okay? Molly began shaking her own hand and laughing before seeing how worried her parents were. Guys, I don't think I want my new hand removed. What if I got his powers? Don't even think like that, interjected her dad. That's just about the least safe thing for you right now, gaining the powers of a superhero who's under so many revenge lists of so many criminals. We are seeing a doctor, young lady. Please, yelled Molly for all of Spoiltown to hear. I can't possibly give up my new hand. You couldn't possibly understand what this means. I'm so much better now. Her mom groaned. Molly, an absence of a limb does not make you in any way an inferior human being. What makes you inferior is not listening to your parents. Molly didn't appreciate the joke. She clutched the solidified ooze hand with tears in her eyes. Please don't make me remove it. I need this hand. Her mom was about to say something, but her dad signaled her against it. Molly, he started, how about you keep it until tomorrow? Enjoy it for a bit, and then we can remove it. Does that sound like a plan? Molly was barely even listening. She was completely and utterly lost in her thoughts. Who could possibly understand what this means? What the heck even am I? A superhuman? I don't know. The bizarre new hand tightened itself against her incomplete wrist. Not tightly tightened, but firmly tightened, as if it were a comforting gesture to say, I'm here for you, kid. Please, Molly, let's move. I'm so sorry, but you know that this isn't going to work. Work, repeated Molly absent-mindedly. Then suddenly her train of thought fired up on a new engine. Work! Who worked with Visit and knew what his powers were like? Oh my god, Red Rabbit! I don't need a doctor. What I need is... Molly's mom grasped her hand against Molly's original hand, the one she was familiar with. Molly was on her feet running, but wasn't thinking about it at all. I need ISH. They can help me. They know about this. They'd want to help me. I just need to find them. Tonight. As the hand balled itself into a determined fist, Molly knew that she'd made a good call. That night, Molly easily snuck out of her bedroom window. Tiptoeing down the street, she felt like a detective, despite the fact that she was an 18-year-old girl with no idea what she was doing. Nighttime, Molly mused as if having a plan. The perfect time to look for a superhero. Molly left Williamsburg and headed towards where she thought Times Square was. Having almost no direction, she was startled out of her wits when a giant bird-like screech filled the entire city. Looking up, she could see Gravity Man flying to the scene, gently holding Thunder Woman. Molly had found them, and it was a lot easier than she thought. Jogging through the city to catch up, Molly found herself running out of breath. Meanwhile, an enormous crow-like beast was loose, taking buildings with the flap of its wings. Red Rabbit hopped from building to building in order to keep up, inadvertently destroying things in her wake. Give it a rest, Mr. Mutation, she gasped, before I put you and your bird in the Ionic Forge where you belong. Mr. Mutation gasped. Oh, Red Rabbit, surely I've graduated to be a Nova villain by now. I'm tired of my electric cell. Put me in the airship. Just as long as it ain't the penitentiary. Sounds like a plan. Come down here, Red Rabbit responded. Mr. Mutation, a short, green-skinned man with wild hair and red eyes, pulled at the reins of his enormous bird. The bird screeched as it flew higher into the air. "Gravity Man, don't let them escape!" Red Rabbit shouted. Gravity Man floated upward and created a gravitational field around the bird. Being so big, Gravity Man could only affect one of its wings. The heavy gravitational field caused the bird to lean to the right, almost sending Mr. Mutation off of his saddle. "Hey, watch it!" Mr. Mutation growled. "I want to go to prison after I rob at least 2 stores." The wild-eyed villain cackled as he jerked his reins to the left, just barely balancing the bird. Seeing Gravity Man, it almost swallowed him whole. "Cosmos, blind the bird!" instructed Red Rabbit. Creating 2 star blades, Cosmos threw them directly at the bird's eyes. The lights were so bright, the bird lurched back. Mr. Mutation went flying. "Dimension, catch him!" Dimension quickly opened a portal, teleporting the hysterical villain from the sky to right beside her. He kicked and screamed about how he wasn't finished with his crime spree, but the team couldn't be less enthused. Molly watched the team join together as the liberated bird flew off into the sky. She was about to introduce herself when she heard Red Rabbit say something amazing. "Good job, guys. Let's go to HQ." Now this, Molly had to see. Of course, for important purposes. Visid probably had some gadgets or something in the headquarters. Oh, who's she kidding? She wanted to see because it was cool. Following closely behind Yapparition, Molly followed them all the way to the outskirts of town. A small little abandoned suburban house, looking completely deserted, was home sweet home for the team. "Thank goodness the chief got Denlar to make this place," said Soldier Gold, fist-bumping his wife. "I mean, who else could make a lair this cool? I almost feel bad for the poor civilians who should never, under any circumstances, know about this lair." Molly's face flushed. Was this such a good idea after all? Invading the private space of superpowered guardians of the law? Yeah, of course it was. The whole team stepped into the building and unwinded. After 5 minutes, Molly snuck in as well. She watched in amazement as the team took off their masks and put on normal people's clothes. Despite their costumes and gadgets, they were all humans, just like her. Well, except for Cosmos, but that wasn't important. Red Rabbit pulled out a yoga mat, Gravity Man watched something on his phone, Thunder Woman hoarded some snacks, the Quantum couple sat on the couch and read, Yapparition sent out a St. Bernard to cuddle, Dimension pulled out a book, and Cosmos was busy playing with the sink. Just like that, everyone assumed their secret identities and called it a day. "Wow," said Molly, causing everyone to jump out of their skin. They looked at her, and then they looked at Jackie in horror. Still in an upward dog, Jackie struggled to think of what to do. She stayed paused as Molly began to feel guilty. "I'm sorry. Should I go?" "Of course not," said Jackie, thinking on her feet. "I invited you after all." "You did?" said Gravity Man. "I would have remembered if we discussed the arrival of a child while I'm watching SNL. "Yeah, come on, guys. Don't you remember I was talking about my family friend just before the fight with Double Take this morning?" "No," said Gravity Man. "No, I don't remember this at all. I would have remembered if we discussed this." "How is she connected to your family again?" Thunder Woman asked, chomping on a snack. "She's..." Jackie turned at Molly. "How's about we take this to the other room, huh?" Molly nodded quickly and gave Jackie a quick hug. "Thank you so much. I wouldn't have come if it wasn't important." "I just find it so hard to believe," Jackie said, chin resting on her knuckles. "He stopped Fusillade without a single weapon, just his own power. A Nova villain with his own power." "I know," said Molly in a quiet tone. "I saw it on the news. He was amazing when he saved us. I really did think he was part of this team. ISH, right? What's that stand for?" "The Indivisible Society of Heroism. But yeah, we go by ISH. Even Ish, if you prefer," Jackie informed before punching her seat. "He was just about to be a member too. He really was. I just finished doing a background check and power analysis. That's what I do for all the members. Oh, he would have been amazing." "Did you say power analysis?" Molly interrupted. "Oh my gosh, that's exactly why I'm here." Jackie looked intently at Molly. "What do you mean?" "You see, I was hoping that somebody who understood Visid's powers could help me understand mine. I must have powers because of this hand, right?" Molly showed off her new purple, viscous hand. Jackie held it and looked closer. I'm no expert, but this seems to be fused with your DNA, or something like that. I'm willing to bet you have powers." "Really?" Molly gasped. Oh my gosh, that's incredible! Teach me how to use them, please. I always wanted to pump the brakes, kid. First of all, I've got to head home to the husband and kids before 11. And second, didn't you say you were going to the doctor to get that hand removed? No, I said that my parents want to take me to the doctor. They don't understand the hand at its face value, so perhaps they'd let me keep it if they see me with superpowers. You know, I could help people. Molly, your confidence rivals even mine, began Jackie. But take it from me, not every parent reacts so kindly about superpowers. They might freak out. Not my parents, Molly said, although not quite as confidently as she said everything else. I'm sure they'll find it just as cool as me. Jackie looked at the time. 10:30. Okay, Molly, I have half an hour before I take the bus home. Let's see if you have what Visit had. Molly nodded quickly. Okay. Visit's body is said to mold only when his mind has a clear idea of what it's supposed to do. So I have to think real hard about what I want my hand to do, and it'll actually do it? Actually, said Red Rabbit, I doubt it's just your hand. It's fused to you, so I think your whole body can shift, just like Visit. You never know until you try, so try. Okay, said Molly, stepping back from Jackie. I want my hand to stretch all the way towards you and pat you on the head. Nothing happened. Try saying it with more confidence and actually believing that it's going to work, Jackie said. You're reminding me of my second-born failing to understand division. My hand will stretch and pat you on the head. Right now! Her hand unfurled into purple slime, just like Visit, and twatted Jackie right over the head before snapping back into place. I'm so sorry, Jackie, Molly stammered. I only meant to... No, don't apologize. You have powers, kid. Visit powers. Oh my gosh, said Molly. You're right. Can I have my hero name be Plasmatic, like Plasm and Pragmatic, but mainly because it sounds super cool? Whoa. Pump those brakes again. You're thinking 5 steps ahead, and we have to stay focused. Molly hung her head. My bad. What do I do next? Try melting into a puddle of slime and moving around. It's how Visit could squeeze into tight spaces. Molly looked surprised for only a second, but proceeded to loosen up and roll her shoulders. I will be loose. I will be so loose. I will melt. Melt like butter. So loose. She took a deep breath and melted, exactly like Visit. Molly, can you still hear me? Said Jackie. I never found out how conscious Visit is when he did this. Steadily, the slime puddle stretched out into a purple thumbs up and changed back in a moment's notice. With impressive precision, she remolded herself into human form. A light of pride entered Jackie's eyes, as if the time limit and other team members just faded away for a second. Molly felt a glowing ball of satisfaction in her chest. Well, inquired Molly, what do you think? I think, shared Jackie, Plasmatic really did sound cool. There are some people in this world that are so terrible they remind you why heroes exist. When a Silver Age superhero team known as the Blockbusters disbanded, crime rates were off the charts. This is, of course, until ISH was formed to put the Big Apple back in line. Those in charge of organizing most of the city's evil deeds are together known as the Ring of Malfeasance. Guard Tower is a building run by one such member of the Ring, known by the villain name Rainbow. He takes the form of a glass silhouette of a human, containing rainbow-colored energy swirling within him. Rainbow's business, known as Guard, is a bodyguard for hire type of organization. Rather than actually protecting people, Rainbow's main source of income involves manipulation. He makes you think that you can't survive without his guards, keeping people reliant on him. If a client feels safe enough to no longer require his business, Rainbow sends out different guards to pretend to be villains, causing said client to come crawling back for protection. That sort of despicable trickery makes for a good member of the Ring of Malfeasance, and thus the perfect host for a meeting. Rainbow was seated at a humble square table, along with 2 other crime bosses. Goat Gruff, a bearded man with golden horns and a purple troll bodyguard, and Killer Whale, the merciless ocean-themed CEO of the Organization of Reinstating Criminal Activity, or ORCA. "I think we all have to address the elephant in the room," spoke Rainbow, his deep and somewhat gravelly voice echoing in the enormous room. "Being the death of Visid." Goat Gruff let out a breath that he didn't know he was holding in. "Have to admit, he was one of the ones I was concerned about. He seemed kinda good." "Clearly not the case," said Killer Whale, lighting a cigar. "None of my agents had to kill him. It was apparently a freak accident in Spoil Town." "I know, Whale," retorted Goat Gruff. "I saw the darn news." "I think it was a good thing for Killer Whale to bring up what really happened," responded Rainbow. "That leads me right to my next point. Visid was one of the stronger new superheroes, and he died to mindless thugs in Spoil Town. Society is weakening. If this keeps up, they will permanently have to lean towards my business to protect them from crimes that I'll be organizing," said Killer Whale, connecting her wine glass with Rainbow's. "And I can have as much swag as I want," bleated Goat Gruff, pumping a fist in the air. "We'll be unstoppable." "We could strike now," said Rainbow, looking at his companions' eager faces. "But that wouldn't be wise. Directly attacking society can lead to public distrust and perhaps an eventual war." "Why's that?" questioned Goat Gruff. "'Cause everyone in this stink town worships those darn superheroes," Killer Whale responded. "We somehow need to attack them without it being us. Maybe I could disguise one of my agents?" "Nah, that'll never work," said Goat Gruff. "We need to break out all the villains from Nova and have them all fight for us. Heroes won't stand a chance." Rainbow's dog, a small white poodle mix, happily trotted over to the table. Rainbow picked him up and stroked him menacingly. "Fellow masterminds, what do you think would happen to George here if he were to fight a bunch of cats?" "George being your dog?" "Yes, genius, George being my dog." "Well," said Goat Gruff, "your wussy dog will probably get killed, to be honest. I'm sure he'll tag some of the cats pretty good, though," added Killer Whale, remembering who the host was. "Right," responded Rainbow. "And what would happen if a cat started fighting the cats?" "You'd get a bunch of dead cats, that's what," responded Goat Gruff. "But what does that have to do with—" "And what would happen to George?" Goat Gruff stayed quiet for a bit, trying to figure out how on earth this conversation related at all. Nothing would happen to him." Killer Whale snapped her fingers in realization. "I see, you don't want us to get hurt, but you want society to get hurt. So in order to hurt as many of them as possible, we need an insider from society to tear them apart for us." Goat Gruff looked around, absolutely flabbergasted. Okay. How did you get that? How in the world did you get that? That has to be some sort of inside joke. How did you do that?" Killer Whale leaned back in her seat. "It's called listening, Gruff. Listening with an analytical mind." "Everyone, we've found our question of the day," interjected Rainbow. "Who in this forsaken city is stupid enough to work for us, but smart enough to get the job done?" These villains won't be too much of a problem, right? Right? I hope not. Once again, if you think you can help with this project in any way, please send a friend request to Danimal Magnetism on Discord, all lowercase, no space, like Animal Magnetism but with a D. What do you think should happen next? Did you like what you saw today? Please let me know in the comments or in my DMs because I'm open to constructive criticism. This low-key trash skull emoji is not constructive criticism, by the way. Thank you and take care.